The most dangerous rag bug is not a wrong answer. It is an answer that starts right, sounds grounded, and then quietly slides off the rails.
That slide is answer drift. The model begins near the retrieved evidence, then adds details the evidence does not support, or it shifts scope, time, or certainty without saying so.
So this is not just hallucination with a nicer name.
No, hallucination can be obviously fabricated. Drift is sneakier. It borrows credibility from good retrieval, then loses alignment sentence by sentence. In production, that is worse because teams trust it longer.
What does drift look like when you are staring at logs and not reading a research paper?
Look for visible symptoms. The answer starts with exact terms from the sources, then introduces synonyms that change meaning. It answers a narrower or broader question than the user asked. It states edge cases as defaults. It upgrades weak evidence into certainty, or it stitches facts from different documents into one story that no single document actually says.
Give me a concrete failure, because this is where teams fool themselves.
Say a user asks, "What is our password reset policy for contractors?" Retrieval brings one policy for employees and one FAQ mentioning contractor access reviews. The answer opens with the employee reset steps, then drifts and claims contractors follow the same flow unless exempted. That last part sounds plausible, but the context never said it.
And if that lands in an internal support bot, people act on it. Now you have a security problem, not a wording problem.
Exactly. Drift creates fake confidence. That is why Diagnose has to inspect 4 places separately: retrieval, context assembly, prompt instructions, and the final answer.
Walk me through retrieval first. What fields do you inspect, not in theory, but in practice?
Start with the user query, the rewritten query if you have one, the top K document IDs, scores, source titles, chunk text, chunk position, timestamps, and any metadata filters. You are asking, did we fetch the right evidence from the right time at the right granularity?
Granularity matters more than people admit, right?
A lot more. If chunks are too small, the model fills gaps between fragments. If chunks are too large, the relevant sentence gets buried, and the model follows nearby but irrelevant text. Drift often starts as a retrieval shape problem, not a generation problem.
Give me another example where retrieval looks decent on paper, but still causes drift.
Imagine a support assistant for API docs. The user asks, does endpoint v2 support idempotency keys? Retrieval returns one chunk about retries in v1, another about request headers in v2, and a changelog that mentions improved reliability. High semantic overlap, wrong factual combination. The answer says yes, use the idempotency key header on v2.
So, if retrieval is the first suspect, how do you tell whether the real culprit is context assembly?
Inspect the context payload exactly as the model saw it. Check ordering, truncation, separators, document labels, overlap, duplicate chunks, and whether system-generated notes were mixed in with source text. A common bug is that the best chunk is retrieved but pushed below the token limit, or merged so poorly that citations become ambiguous.
That is brutal, because the dashboard says the right doc was retrieved, but the model never actually saw the key line.
Right, and there is another trap. If context contains conflicting passages and you do not preserve source boundaries, the model resolves the conflict by improvising. That improvisation is drift.
Now let us put prompts on trial. People love blaming prompts for everything.
Sometimes, they deserve it. Inspect the system prompt, developer instructions, answer format rules, citation rules, refusal policy, and any hidden planning prompt. If the prompt says be helpful, concise, and complete, the model may optimize for completeness, even when evidence is partial. That is a drift invitation.
So, the prompt can force the model to act more certain than the retrieval allows.
Yes. Example, the prompt says answer directly and avoid saying I do not know. A user asks for the retention period of audit logs in a specific region. Retrieval only has a global default policy. The model gives a crisp regional answer because the prompt punished uncertainty harder than inaccuracy.
That is the power shift, isn't it? Your guardrails quietly decide whether the system protects truth or protects smoothness.
Well put. Last, inspect the answer itself as structured data, not just prose. Look at cited spans, unsupported claims, sentence-level grounding, hedging words, scope changes, and whether each claim maps to one or more source chunks. Drift usually appears at claim boundaries.
How do you separate likely causes instead of guessing and tweaking 5 things at once?
Use a simple decision path. If the needed fact is absent from top retrieval, blame retrieval first. If it was retrieved but not present in the final context, blame assembly. If the fact is in context and the answer still overstates, blame prompt or decoding behavior. If only later sentences drift while early ones are grounded, suspect answer generation under pressure to be complete or fluent.
So diagnosis is basically following the evidence chain, from question to chunk to context to claim.
Exactly. One practical workflow. Take a bad answer, split it into claims, mark each claim supported or unsupported, then trace unsupported claims backward. Which query retrieved the source? Which chunk contained it? Whether it survived truncation? Which instruction encouraged the leap? That turns drift from a spooky model problem into a debuggable pipeline problem.
And the teams that do this win, because they stop polishing tone and start controlling truth.
Yes, answer drift is not random, it leaves fingerprints. If you inspect retrieval, context, prompt, and claims in order, you stop chasing vibes and start fixing causes. In RAG, trust is built one grounded sentence at a time.